Hi, I'm City Manager Greg Burris. Today I'd like to recap the situation surrounding the Police and Fire Pension Fund as the February 3rd sales tax election draws near. By now you're probably aware that the pension fund for our city's first responders is seriously underfunded. You're probably also aware that City Council has proposed a 1-cent sales tax that will allow the city to shore up the fund going forward. The tax would sunset after 5 years or when the plan is fully funded, whichever comes first. This is a complex subject, which is why the answers to many questions as well as videos and related documents can be found at the city's website at www.springfieldmo.gov/election. You can drill down into the details with these resources, but right now I'd like to talk about the big picture. Where are we now? Well, the Police Fire Pension Plan is currently underfunded by nearly $200 million. We're in effect losing the equivalent of about $39,000 a day in potential investment returns. There are several reasons for this. Even before the current economic crisis, market downturns after the bursting of the technology bubble and 9/11 led to lower than expected returns, and the current crisis has had an effect as well. A relatively conservative portfolio also meant the fund didn't profit as much from the boom times of the 1990s. At the same time, benefits granted in lieu of pay raises began to affect the system and draw down the funded ratio. Also, actuarial assumptions about factors such as lifespans and investment returns changed, which significantly raised the city's recommended contribution rate. Although the city continued its same level of funding after the assumptions went up, these contributions made less of an impact after the markets began to weaken. If the city had made the full recommended contribution, about $10 million more in today's money would be in the fund. Many have asked if the city has taken any steps to rectify the problem and why the issue wasn't addressed several years ago. The answers are, it has, and it was. Beginning in the early 2000s, the city started making changes to the pension plan to make it more sustainable. A new tier of benefits was created for employees hired after July 1 of 2006, and the old tier was closed. Police and fire employees are paying more into the plan. Holiday and vacation accumulation was capped. The pension board was restructured and investment costs were reduced by 30%, and the city is paying more. This year we cut $5.2 million from our budget in order to contribute the full recommended $12.5 million payment into the pension fund. But cuts like this aren't sustainable over the long term. Every year the payment will get larger, requiring bigger and bigger cuts. The city's contribution to the pension fund comes from, and only from, our general fund. The general fund is about $73 million a year and pays for nearly all personnel costs and core services. Now think about that for just a moment. Our entire general fund is $73 million, and we're facing a $200 million shortfall. We could cut every employee and every city service paid by the general fund for 2 years and still not be able to meet this obligation. The magnitude of the problem is unprecedented for the city, which is why City Council has proposed the 1-cent sales tax. Our actuaries tell us the best way to shore up the fund is to infuse it with as much revenue as possible, as quickly as possible. The pension board has studied many options and determined that a sales tax was the most equitable way to cover the shortfall. A 1-cent tax will generate enough revenue to quickly begin rectifying the problem. It is the least sensitive to market fluctuations and will take the shortest amount of time to roll back. By comparison, a quarter or half-cent tax could take as long as 10 to 20 years to fund the plan. Springfield has one of the lowest overall sales tax rates in the area and among the major metropolitan areas in Missouri at 6.85%. A 1% increase will not make our rate significantly higher than most surrounding cities. The City Council realizes this is a tough time to propose a tax increase. But the Council, the Pension Board, and its actuaries have studied all the options, and this proposal was the most feasible to City Council. Thank you for watching, and once again I'd like to remind you that much more information can be found on our website at www.springfieldmo.gov. Thank you.